Good morning, everybody. This is Richard back at you. Got the beautiful 400 all done. We got our Muncie 4-speed done. And we have Miss Teresa on the camera today. Love it. We got Annie hanging out. Look at her. Just so excited. Are you excited today, Annie? Huh? Are you excited today? She's always excited. Well, we're back on the Dodge. We have a 2005 Dodge Diesel 2500, excuse me, four-wheel drive, 48 RE transmission, 273D transfer case. You can look in our other videos that we did. Had a lot of thrust washer wear. I mean, the truck's turned up, got big tires, probably pulling a heavy load, just knocked out the thrust washers. But anyway, we went back with a bunch of Sonnax parts, the Sonnax pressure regulator valve to get some more oil in the lube circuit on the Dodge. Make sure the tranny stays cool. Almost got it finished. Got the valve body almost done. We're still waiting on some pieces because we're going to be doing some corrections on the transfer case that was done to the transmission and the transfer case. So we can't put them both totally together. But I'm going to get this one apart and kind of show you what we got going on. What do we have here? We have an ATS dual locking shaft and input shaft here on the front of the transfer case. This is the output shaft on the overdrive housing that locks into here. You can see how it slid in there and locked. Well, the splines down in here are almost totally stripped out. They're almost non-existing. And this is what we call a dual locking system. It uses the splines, and then it also uses this here to lock into there. See how they cut that out? So when you slide it in there, you got your splines, and then it locks in there like that. Well, the splines are totally wore out, so all it's really is working on is this other piece right here that they made. Now you can see this piece was put on there. I do not know if it's keyed, splined, or how this is on there, or is it just pressed on, or is this already moving? You can't see any splines here, any keyways or anything like that for that collar to be locked in there good. Actually, I see a pin here. Just now seeing that. I see a pin here. Right there. There's a pin. Okay, so we have 4 pins locking that on there. I'm glad I've seen that. This is the first time that I've really sat down and looked at this piece here. So we have 4 pins to keep this from spinning on here. It's going to have to shear the pins to make that spin. Plus you have your splines here. But what I'm thinking about doing is going with the Sonnax kit that they sell. This is a 23 spline. The Sonnax is a 29 spline. Twice as big on both ends into here, bigger shaft, and made out of totally different material instead of taking stock pieces and modifying them. That's all this is a stock shaft, I believe, modified, stock input shaft here, modified. So the material is still soft no matter how you look at it, unless you put the Sonnax piece in there that's made out of something very much more stronger. And plus the shaft's twice as big, 5 more splines I believe, from a 23 to a 29. So that's a lot. But the only problem is you got to take the transfer case apart to change this piece. You can't put your overdrive housing together on your tranny because that goes into the overdrive housing. So I got to wait on that kit to come in or decide what I'm physically going to be doing. But I'm leaning more towards the Sonnax stuff. I think it's way better. On this transfer case, if you look right here, not all of them will have a round tag on it, but most of them will. You see that 273D? That's going to be the ID on this transfer case. So if you're going to need any parts for it, your VIN number, manufacturer date, and all that type of stuff, but they're also going to ask you this right here, that 273D number. Makes it a lot nicer to get off there with the right tools. Now we always mark our drive shafts That way we can bolt it back on. Same way with the rear drive shaft. It's all been marked. That way when we bolt it back on, it's the original way it come off. Now this is electric shift transfer case. You got a motor here. Now you can see how it slides on the shaft. It'll only go on one way. If you rebuild the transfer case and this shaft here, you might have to turn it to get it to line up perfectly. You can see how it is. You have a seal right there. These are big and ugly.
Yes, that is.
Not a lot of parts in them though, really. As big as they are. Make sure there's no more, but you can see how many bolts go around. This looks like it's a sewing machine. There's 100 of them around that thing.
It should work.
Yeah, definitely, huh? Find your little spot there. You'd think so. No bolts, just tight. And there's really no certain area to grab. Get in there. There you go. Now since you had to take a screwdriver and beat it up, you definitely want to clean the area up that you beat up on. Flatten it out again. Big old bushing, seal. Everything's massive in this thing. You got your oil pump here. The oil pump turns with the drive shaft. So this is not pumping any fluid until the vehicle starts moving, then the pump starts pumping. Get that out of there. Go ahead and get all the bolts out of here first. There's like 100 of them. Use my quiet one. Which I haven't changed my rings on my impact yet that the gentleman sent me. I know, huh? Could have took a few of these out before I started the video, I guess. If you notice here, we got one 13 millimeter right there.
Why is that?
Sometimes they have a cover that sets on here that holds wires that it hooks on the back of this stud. But if I always mark it, you can see this little dimple right here.
Yeah.
That way I know where to put it back at. A lot of bolts. Like I say, you got your only 13 compared to all your others. Just that little dimple right there gives you an idea where to put it back at. Of course, there's really nowhere to put a screwdriver or anything in these. You just find you a spot and try to bust it open. There's nowhere to pry it or anything like that. You don't want to tap on anything or break any ears off or anything. So, but this oil pump right here, the suction tube, It's kind of hard to get out. It's plastic, and you don't want to break it. There, if I can get it out of there. There we go. You do have a seal right here. You want to make sure this seal is nice and soft. That way the pump doesn't suck any air around this shaft or anything. Or any of the oil that is putting in here to produce pressure will even leak out of here. So the kit we have does have all the seals in it. Let me wipe my hands off here. Now we got the shift work inserts right now coming, or here, and then we have all the seals. You can see here, there's that little seal. And you have your input seal, output seals, your stuff like that. So this O-ring right here, you do not want to lose it. Some of the kits do have it, but some of the kits don't. So you want to look for it and make sure it's in there. And I don't see it. So you don't want to lose that seal because it is special. Get out of there. There we go. Little fat one. Once I clean all this stuff up, I like to prime my pump with some like STP or something thick. That way it sucks up instantly, no more that drive shaft starts turning. You see your suction tube here. You have this big old bearing with this massive snap ring on there. So if you notice that fell, so when you go to put your snap ring back on, you're going to have to pull it out. Put it on there. You don't want to leave it out. That'll make that shaft to be a little loose there. Okay, I'm going to find me a spot here and see if I can get that wedged in there. There we go. Like I said, there's no certain place, you just got to find it. You can see here your suction right here. Looks nice and clean, no metal in this at all. You have this spring, don't want to forget it. And then you're going to have this snap ring right there. If you notice on this, I always grab the chain and kind of pull it apart a little bit like this. Kind of gives me an idea about how tight it is. Your identification would be this single purple link right there. If you order a chain, they could ask you that at Transtar. Come on, there we go. You're going to pull this off. You're going to pull this out. I like to put my, I don't like my sprocket, these sprockets, I could take this and flip it over, put it back in, it worked fine. But I like to put my sprockets back on the exact same way that direction they've been running from the start. If I'm not changing the chain or anything like that, or sprockets, that's the best way to do it. So there's more snap ring here. You can take this off here, get down in here. There's going to be some roller bearings under here, needle bearings. I want to make sure that all that stuff looks good. You can see here where your oil pump pressurizes all this stuff here and lubricates this shaft all the way down. That oil pump. This is the feed to pressurize it all the way down. So they're putting a lot of oil in there. But like I say, once you come to a stop, it stops pumping altogether. We have our magnet. Looks really clean. we're going to pull this fork assembly out right here. You look at this collar, how it goes on. If you notice, it's flat here, pointed here. Anytime you're going to lock this fork in, let me get this back on there. If you notice, this is pointed. So this collar is going to go this direction. That way it locks on. There's no synchronizer ring or anything like that. But if you put it this way, you're going to have flatness going against here. Get it on there. Because it'll still go this way. Just a little harder to get it on there, see? But then you're going to have a big problem. But you want the points going that direction. This is your mode fork here. Puts it in 4-wheel drive. Turn it around. You can see your tabs here, the plastic piece, they just come off. You can replace them. Like I said, we got them in a package over there. This is your range fork here. This is the fork that puts it actually in 4-wheel low. Right here. You also got shift fork inserts right here. These are little jicky looking ones, little cheap ones. It's crazy how they put plastic and stuff that does superior jobs.
Yeah.
But it sets down in here. This is your range collar and gear, locking gear. Now you want to look in here and make sure it's not all wore out through here, because this is where it locks into down in here. I'll show you. I'll get this Planet out real quick.
Man, that's crazy. Just to change out that one piece.
Mm-hmm. Try to just get on the edge of the seal right there and just push it over. See if you can get under it and pull it out that way. There you go. Of course, we have a new one in the kit. And then you're going to have a snap ring down in here. When I take it loose, everything should fall out the bottom just like that. You have this massive bearing, and then you have your ring gear. You want to look at it. Those are hard to get out. It does have a snap ring in there to take it out, but even when you take the snap ring out, they're hard to get out. Here we have our massive Planetary. You want to make sure all the gears look good. Make sure the pins are purple. And then here we have our input shaft. Set that right there. Down inside in here, you can see here, Teresa, we have another Teflon washer. This washer has tabs on it. Sets in these grooves right here and sets down in there. Okay. If you notice, this one is round. I've seen them come with a tab on the top and the bottom, but you want to make sure you have a tab on the bottom every time. This sets in there, runs on that. You could put a 2-tab washer up here would be fine, but a 2-tab washer down there every time. Set that on there, put this back on with your snap ring. Of course, this is our piece that we're going to be replacing. This is just an OEM piece that they've done machining to. It's not made out of some really nice hard metal that Sonnax is made out of. But like I said, they did do the dual locking. So they do have 4 pins that this collar sets on that keeps it from spinning. It isn't splined here, it's just got the 4 pins. Like that. So what do you think? Should I stay with this system, or should I go with the Sonnax with from a 23 spline to a 29 spline, twice as big a shaft, made out of some really good metal. I'm not sure exactly what it's made out of, but it's got to be 4340 or 300M or something. Got to be a lot better metal. So in the comments, kind of tell me what you think on what I ought to do about that. But I think the Sonnax would be a lot stronger and a lot harder, just the shaft so much bigger, more splines to grab a hold of everything. Don't you think, Teresa?
I think that we're going to do whatever the customer says to do.
I think so, but I think I'm going to lean him towards Sonnax all the way. But hey, we did get our Circle D converter back for the Dirty Bird. I mean, really nice looking converter. Give Teresa a koozie.
Woohoo!
Got our mounting bolts for the converter and the flywheel spacers, and
Yeah.
really nice piece. We're really excited to get that back from them. They just did a stall change on it, dropping a little bit too much RPM on the shift, so they corrected that. Really excited to get the car out and try it. But waiting on some parts to finish the Dirty Bird's tranny. Trying to figure out what we're going to be doing on the Planetary. We did get the Muncie 4-speed done. We're going to be delivering that Monday morning.
If they're open.
If they're open. Yep, we got their 400 done too. So Don over at Panhandle Performance Engines will be really excited to get 2 units back to them. Sunday,
And
happy Easter tomorrow. Really
got
excited
it.
about that. The grandbaby's going to be running all over the yard.
Yeah, we mowed for the first time yesterday. How do you feel, Richard? My arms are like vibrating still.
That was tough. We got like 2.5, 3 acres here, and we decided to push mow it this time instead of the riding lawnmower's blocked in. We couldn't get it out, so I didn't want to drag it out, so we decided to get behind the old Drag Me Honda.
And it literally drags you. That ain't no lie.
It does. It's got a control on it to where, it'll actually pop wheelies with you if you ain't careful with it.
Yeah, but it looks really nice.
Yeah, it does look really nice anytime you mow and
I'm
stuff. Our
excited
yard's
for
actually green.
tomorrow.
We started watering really early this year.
Yeah,
Really excited about that.
yeah.
Annie, what are you doing today? Huh?
She had fun yesterday. She got to follow us around. She likes being in the front yard too.
Yeah, she does, I tell you. Well, we want to thank you guys for watching. We really enjoy what we do. We want to thank all of our sponsors and stuff that help us out here. We want to thank O'Reilly's on the Dirty Bird always. We appreciate it. When you retire, everything slows down a little bit, but the work keeps coming.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe, push the notification bell. More coming in, I guarantee
Happy
it.
Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter. Have a great day.